Well, good evening and welcome back to another adventure. As you can see, it's an absolutely stunning evening here in Jersey. Shorts are on, the air temperature is on the rise, we've had an absolutely stunning weekend, and I think it's time to put a wetsuit on and go out on the gun. Now the water is about 14.5 degrees, it's slowly creeping up, and me and my friend Ben, who I fish with quite a lot, have decided to get out in the morning on the guns. Now, I'm no professional at spearfishing. To be honest, I'm just a learner. I'm just a beginner. Fishing for me on the rod is my thing and I just love it to bits. But ever since I picked up a gun a couple of years ago, I've not looked back. I love getting out there. I love being out there under the water, checking out what's below, seeing what the bass are up to, and just seeing what everything's up to, if that makes sense. It's not just about going out there and shooting a fish for a meal. I just love being out there. We're gonna get out there in the morning, but before I do that, I'm a beginner, as I say. So I thought I'd just show you guys what I'm using while I'm out there on the water. Wetsuit wise, I'm just using this Oma 2-piece 5mm wetsuit. I used to go spearfishing with this, like really cheap Amazon 2mm wetsuit, 1-piece thing, and yeah, it was gritty. I got really cold really quick. You've got the top and the matching trousers. Really, I just look like great white live bait. It keeps me warm, 5mm. I'll never go back. I'll never go back to that cheap wetsuit. This thing's absolutely perfect, and it's really done me well over the last year. On my feet, immersion kind of foot stockings. Above them, ankle weights. Obviously, gloves. These are like 2mm. Now, last year I started with this cheap kind of mask. And don't get me wrong, it's absolutely perfect. I'm not too sure about how much it costs, but this was really good for starting. Now, because I like to wear a GoPro when I'm down there looking around and stuff like that, I kind of upgraded to this bow shot with a little GoPro mount. Put the GoPro on the head and yeah. Oh yeah, and don't forget the snorkel. I used to have one of those bendy ones that you could just bend and stuff like that, but I found, I don't know if because my head's too big, I don't know if anyone out there who is actually good at spearfishing can tell me the difference. This one's rock hard, this one doesn't bend, but I used to have one of those bendy ones and I just really didn't get on with it at all. So I just upgraded to this and I've had no problems with it so far. And the weight belt, because I am a big lad, and that wetsuit is very buoyant. I've bought myself a brand new weight belt this year. It's kind of a leathery, I'm not too sure what it's made out of, and I've got some big weights on it. I'm not too sure about the ratio. I always ask people, what's the ratio to body weight, and I always forget it, but I'm no pro, as I say, I'm just a beginner. But I've got myself a weight belt. On the back of my weight belt, I've got a D-ring, and that's to attach my float buoy so people or boats can see me. Always have one of them. I've seen some idiots out there without them and it's just daft and stupid. But a little D-ring that attaches to the back, and I've upgraded to this, and this is a stringer. Now this string is pretty cool. What you can do is you can take it out like so, thread it through your fish, and then plop it straight back in, and it clicks in. And then obviously to go spearfishing you need a gun. And that's what I've got here. Now this is a cheap gun. This is a hand-me-down from Ben. This was Ben's original gun. I've not really pushed the boat out yet, and I've not gone and bought a new gun yet. This is the only one that I'm using at the moment. I probably do need to upgrade. It's very small, it's very cheap. What's it called? A Sonmap Classic. But it does me well, and I've shot a couple of bass on it. I've missed a lot of fish with it. Maybe the aim and maybe the power isn't too good, but as I say, I'm a beginner, and yeah, this has done me well. And then for safety, and everyone should have one of these, I've seen some people, like I say, without them, is my buoy. Cheap one, got it off the internet, but it does the same thing, blows up nice and easy. It has a flag, which is at my house. I've got a little net that I attach to it, which I can put my flip-flops in, because there's nothing worse than walking all the way out in bare feet or in your socks, ruining them. Put my flip-flops in them. I can put a bottle of drink in there as well, just so I keep hydrated. And on the front, I've just got the H kind of clip, and then on there I've got some floating tube, and then that clips on a carabiner, clips on my back on that D-ring, and then everyone can see me out there floating away doing absolutely nothing, because as I say, I'm a rubbish spear fisherman. Oh, and last but not least, my fins. Now again, holding it like a trophy bass. These aren't the best, but they're not the cheapest. These got a little bit of bend to them. They're not like, you know, the bee's knees, but they're not the worst of the worst. But yeah, I got myself a pair of Omar Eagle Ray fins, very long, but they do the job. So in the morning, once I've got all of that on, I am going to go spearfishing for the first time this year. It's supposed to be a little bit windy. I think the visibility will be absolutely perfect. So I think we're going to get out in the morning. So I'll see you in the drink. Let's go. So welcome back to the water. Another adventure, but my first adventure subsurface of the year. I wasn't going to show you a little video of me getting changed, really struggling to put a wetsuit on, because you really don't want to see that. We've made the brief walk down the beach, and we've popped in and we've just started swimming out into the main gutter. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mooch around over the beds, over the bubbleweed, and find the Jap forest or the Jap jungle. And once I get into that area, I'll look and mooch around as slow as possible, even though it's very hard when you look like a big floating seal, to find our first treat of the day. Now, more than likely, we're going to come across a lot of bait fish, grordos, sand eels, small pouting, small pollock, all the juvenile fish that tend to live in these kind of areas in the warmer waters of Jersey's southeast coast. Also, we are definitely going to come across a stingray. Now, the stingrays have inhabited our coastline for many years, but over the last couple of years, they've kind of been on the rise. I've seen massive stingrays in these areas. Some probably record-breaking if you were to catch them on rod and line. Tend to leave them alone, get a little bit close to them, but just leave them do their thing. Really unsure what they're actually doing, if they're here to feed on the shedding spider crab that is inhabiting our coastline at this time of the year, feeding on crabs, crustaceans and things like that, or they're just here because they're here. As I'm moving on, I come across a tail of an electric marble ray. Now, this is a first for me. I've never seen one in person, let alone in the water with one. And this small one, probably about 5 pounds, is just chilling up against the weeds on the side of a gully, out of harm's way, just sitting doing nothing. Now I'm mooching along on kind of a sand kind of plain on the side of some weedy, jappy, bubbleweedy beds. In the corner of my eye, I spot a school of mullet, probably around the 3 pound mark. I sit and I wait. Now, I've learnt this from some of my mates who are actually pretty good at spearfishing. Don't go charging up to a fish, wait, because if they see you, more than likely they will spook. Hold your ground, get an aim. If they come into shooting distance, take your shot. As you can see, these lot are just moping around and just eating. One spots me, goes, haha, I see you, and all of them just ping off. In this particular location, we've got a group of oyster beds. The farmers grow their oysters in these bags, which you can see, and they're lined up on rails, and I tend to find mullet in this area, and it's a great place to do a bit of sneaking and crawling around, and that's what I'm going to do here. I'm making my way along this particular bed, and guess what? There he is, the fish that I wanted, mullet. He's not spotted me yet, and I kind of take aim at him, but lucky for him, this is my first session of the year, and my shot is absolutely terrible. I took my shot, and as you can see, he flies off to tell his mates, there's a guy with a gun over there, do not go near him. Well, there we have it, we've just literally got back in. My GoPro ran out of battery, but I got a nice bass here. Shot it from above, came through the belly, not too bad. But yeah, there's the only fish I shot today. Missed that mullet just before and managed to get myself a bass at around 55 centimeters, which is not too bad, and it's a great way to finish the video. I'm really sorry I didn't get it, but hey, you cannot complain. A beautiful basil, can't go wrong with that. I'm gonna strip off, get all my stuff off, and then yeah, thank you very much for watching. As I always say, never stop the adventure.